Even if you're not a frequent stream monster on fighting game events, chances are you've still heard of someone refer to hitboxes in Street Fighter 5. Now unfortunately in the game there's not really any tools for a player to actually understand them, so today I'm going to break everything down and explain to you why they matter. Luckily, if you're a PC user like myself, there are some great tools out there. So Frametrapped is the main one that I use, and you can use this to display hitboxes not only in training mode but in game and replays as well. Fundamentally, hitboxes have multiple parts, all with varying degrees of importance, but they're all worth understanding at least on a basic level. As you can see here, there are two sets of hitboxes on display. The first one we're going to look at is the green outline. Now this is your hurt box. If any of your opponent's attacks touch this area, it's registered as a hit. You can see it follows your character model around as you jump, crouch and move around the screen as you would expect. The main thing though you need to keep in mind is that this doesn't actually match your character model. As you can see, Ryu's foot is not actually hittable when he's standing up. It's just purely for decoration. The next one that we can see here is your throwable area. Now you might think that your hurt box is what's throwable on your character, but to stop someone from just throwing your limbs from miles away as you poke, you instead have a designated part of your body that is throwable. You can see here that the hitbox on Ryu's throw is just a little bit too far away. It is connecting with the hurt box, but not the throwable area. So as soon as I move forward, it hits perfectly. This moves us conveniently onto what is normally called a hitbox. Now this is the big red box that appears as I press an attack. If any of this connects with an opponent's hurt box, it will be considered a hit. Simple enough. And as shown before, when you throw, it's a blue hitbox that appears, and this has to hit the throwable area to count. And once again, this doesn't exactly match up with the models, so it's worth understanding what the actual range of your buttons are, because sometimes the visuals just don't represent what's going on. Now the last one is probably the most complex, but fortunately it also matters the least. This is your proximity block area. So what happens in Street Fighter when someone puts out an attack is if you're holding back, you'll go into a block animation. Now this doesn't just happen if you're in range for the attack. It happens if you're in this specific area. So here I'm holding back, and instead of walking backwards, I'm just stood here still blocking even though the attack itself is whiffing. It's pretty interesting stuff, and it does have some uses out there. That's really hitboxes in a nutshell, but what are the practical applications for any of this information? Well, let's look at some of the common moves and see how hitboxes can aid us into understanding how to actually counter them. Firstly, Ryu's Dukan. If we slow the game down, which is something also possible in the Frametrap tool, when we see the fireball starting up, you're seeing that his hurt box is extending forward. And what we can do to punish this is use one of your long reaching pokes that will typically whiff and use that to hit them as a counter hit. So we're using Ryu's stand around us here. It's not the best poke, but if we're trying to punish, on anticipation of fireball, we're going to get a crush counter and we're going to get massive rewards for it. Mika's dropkick is another great one for analysis here. It goes way higher than you think, and it actually allows you to low profile underneath it. So instead of actually trying to beat the button with your own attacks, you're going under it using one of your crouching moves and then punishing it as it whiffs. Finally, let's look at some of Dhalsim's long pokes. The hurtbox actually extends past the hitbox, meaning that if we're at a range where these buttons whiff, there's actually a potential for us to punish them. And we can also preemptively stick out like quick light moves which don't move us forward too much and beat them out clean. It's just a matter of spacing. And that's really all of it. Knowing your hitboxes does have a use, but similar frame data, it's not mandatory. It's not going to completely change your world if you understand this stuff. If you're sat in training mode with Dhalsim and you're hitting a whole bunch of buttons with Dhalsim and seeing what wins, you're effectively doing the same thing. What this does is it gives you a little bit of a reference on maybe how to approach different issues or understand on a deeper level what's going on in the game when certain things happen. Anyway guys, I'm Fury Fighter, I hope you enjoyed and take easy.